Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing J is for Judgement, written by Sue Grafton. It's another book in the Kinsey Millhone alphabet murder series. I love this series. There are certain things in this series that I just adore, and it's my favourite PI series of all time. I love the fact that it's set in the 80s. I love the fact that it's all this manual work that goes on. Kinsey has to get out and manually investigate. She has to door knock, talk to people, has to research things manually. There's no cell phones, no internet. She has to call people from payphones. She has to go into libraries, research things manually. Look at phone books to find people's phone numbers and addresses. All those things make this series just one of a kind in my opinion. I also love the side characters, the support cast in this series. Rosie and Henry, the main ones. Now we have William, Henry's brother, appearing in the series as well. And I love all those characters. They just add so much to the story. This story centers around insurance fraud. So it's the second time in this series so far we've had insurance fraud. And I found that a little bit disappointing. I prefer that every story had a fresh, a new case for Kinsey to investigate. And also there's a bit of filler in this book. And it drifts a little bit. So I found that those things also coloured my view of the book. So it's not my favourite book in this series. But one thing I did really like in this book is that we get a lot of Kinsey's history coming out. And that is a big impact for the character Kinsey in the book. And I thought that was important to have that in this series because it just shapes Kinsey so much more. Kinsey's approached by California Fidelity to help on an insurance fraud case. In a previous book, the partnership between Kinsey and California Fidelity was severed. They fired her basically. Now they come to her for help. The case involves a guy called Wendell Jaff. He went missing around 5 years ago. His wife has finally had him declared legally dead, and she's claimed his life insurance, and it's $500,000, so $500,000, and they think that he's still alive. Somebody thinks they saw him in Mexico, and California Fidelity want Kinsey to go to Mexico to see if that's true, see if she can spot him and prove that he's alive. The reason it's suspicious about his disappearance is that at the time Wendell Jaff was being investigated for a Ponzi scheme. So they think that he went missing to avoid being put in prison, basically being found guilty of running this Ponzi scheme. Kinsey does think that she spots him down in Mexico with another woman. While she's there, they hear about one of his sons, one of Wendell's sons, having trouble with the law. So he was in prison, and he's about 17 in the book, I think. They escaped, him and a few other boys, and during that escape, they kill somebody, and the three other people that the son escaped with die. 2 die and 1's in hospital. He's back in prison facing a whole string of charges because of this. And Kinsey thinks that Wendell is going to head back to Santa Teresa because of that. His son's in trouble. Kinsey thinks he's heading back to help out his son. They're not sure how, but that's what Kinsey reports back to California Fidelity. And they put the police, they put the airports on alert to look out for Wendell. And of course, Wendell looks a bit different at the moment. He's had plastic surgery. He's aged 5 years. So the only people who have seen him, how he looks now, is Kinsey and this other person that may have seen him in Mexico. While the hunt for Wendell Jaff continues, Kinsey starts to investigate other people in his life, his family mainly, and his ex-business partner, thinking that Wendell may approach one of them or contact one of them. These people form quite a complex web amongst themselves. It's a simple case really, this story, but it's the characters that really shine through and are very complex. And some of the characters are quite suspicious. Kinsey does track down the ex-wife and one of the sons who's not in prison. The ex-business partner went to prison and he seems on hard times at the moment. He's working and he's living in Wendell's old boat. the boat that Wendell went missing from. And that's a bit strange as well in Kinsey's mind. Why did he get that old boat to live on? Kinsey also tracks down the new lady in Wendell's life. And this lady, she's got a lot of money herself. She's quite well off. But she's also a bit suspicious. There's something about her that doesn't really add up for Kinsey. So there are a few people in this story that have a motive for protecting Wendell if Wendell reaches out to them. And Kinsey realises that. So it's up to her really to try to track Wendell down and prove he's alive. She really can't trust the other people in his life because they all have a motive to protect him. I think that the case is not the biggest thing going on in this book. The biggest thing going on is Kinsey learns a bit about her past, about her history, and it's accidental. Kinsey's door knocking at one part in this story, door knocking in the neighbourhood of Wendell's ex-wife. One person she talks to recognises Kinsey's name, but also recognises that Kinsey looks like somebody she knows. And they get talking a little bit at that stage, and what they're talking about does trigger a memory in Kinsey's mind, and it leads her to go and research that a bit. And she gets the records of her birth and also the records of what she remembers about her parents as well. And she finds out that this lady may be onto something, that maybe she does have family somewhere that she doesn't know about. Out of the blue, a lady turns up at Kinsey's new office, and this lady is Kinsey's cousin. Kinsey finds out that she's got quite a few cousins. She's got aunts and uncles, her grandmother's still alive, she's got this whole family she knew nothing about. It's very, very big news for Kinsey, but it's very hard for her to take it all in. And she doesn't act or react well to the news. She gets a bit combative and she gets a bit aggressive with this person that's her cousin. She can't understand why these people didn't reach out sooner, and she can't understand why the aunt who raised her didn't tell her about all these people, this whole family that she has that she thought she didn't have. She's so used to being alone, thinking of herself as alone, that she doesn't know how to comprehend all this news, doesn't know how to take it all in, and she's very confused at this point, I think. So it's a very big storyline for the Kinsey character, and I think this storyline is the biggest part of this book. I think the mystery plays second fiddle to this storyline, and that's okay because I found Kinsey's past, the revelations about her past, probably more compelling than the mystery in this story. In this book, we also have an extension of the Rosie and William relationship. So in the previous book, William comes to live with Henry for a while after his heart attack. Rosie and William met and got to know each other, and there was a friendship blossoming, and it could have been more. We weren't sure at that point. In this book, we're sure. They're now living together, and William has proposed to Rosie. We don't know the answer yet, but they seem to be getting on like a house on fire. And it's changed William's viewpoint on life. He seems more lively. He seems a bit more carefree than he was. So it's very positive for William. And I get the sense these characters would work well together in real life. And I love that part of the storyline. I love the fact that we've got Rosie and William in that relationship. And I just love the way that Kinsey thinks about it in this book as well. It's a little bit of comic relief in a way, but it's also, just a bit of light in the story. I found that this book was very emotive. So there's a lot of things going on in this book for the characters and for Kinsey. And all the characters' emotions come through so clearly. And once again, all the characters are written so well. Sue Grafton is a master at giving new characters in each book that feel real, feel complete. And this book is no exception. Even though I didn't find that this book was the strongest in the series for me, I found the characters just as strong as every other book. Dana Jaff is the wife of Wendell, who vanished 5 years ago or so. She's written as a very good character, very strong. Her emotions come through so clearly, and she has a whole range of emotions in this book. There's shock, there's grief, there's anger, resentment, there's happiness, there's sadness. She feels a whole lot of different emotions in this book, and they're all seen through the eyes of Kinsey. So it's very powerful to be able to show other characters' emotions so clearly through the main character's eyes, in my opinion. It shows great writing on behalf of the author. And this character has a lot of ups and downs in the book as well. When I think of Dana, I think of a wolf in the wild, protecting her young. That's what she comes across like. She comes across as so strong, but if somebody approaches her children and causes trouble for her children, the claws and the fangs come out and she gets quite vicious. And you see that in this book. You get that protective instinct in this character. And that's just another thing that's shown so strongly in this story and shown so well by Sue Grafton. Renita Huff is the woman that Wendell Jeff is involved with now. And Renita has a lot of mystery around her and a lot of suspicion. What happened to her previous two husbands? Because we do learn that she'd been married twice before, and she seems to have acquired her wealth from those husbands. And one died overseas. I'm not sure what happened to the first one, but what happened to those husbands? And that's never explored fully in the story. But there's hints that it may not have been a natural death. And I found that just threw a whole lot of mystery around Renita and made her just more lifelike, made her more vivid in the book. It just made her more mysterious, and I wanted to learn more about this character. She's got a lot of shadow around her, so we see the parts about her that we do see very vividly, and they're very clear. And then there's little bits about her character that are cast in shadow for the whole book. So she's not perfectly rounded, but because of those little bits of shadow around her, she feels well-rounded, because she feels like somebody that you want to get to know more about. And until you do, you won't see all those bits of colour. They're still in shadow, but there's still a whole character and still very lifelike. So that's how I think about Renita in this book. She's like a map of the world, but parts of it aren't explored. And until you see those parts, those bits of shadow will remain. You just know there's something there, but you can't get to them yet. Brian Jaff is one of Wendell's sons, and he's the one that's in trouble with the law. So he's in jail, in prison. He's a very interesting character. He's at times vulnerable, but then he snaps and becomes very aggressive, very violent. And at the start, you're never sure about him. Did he or didn't he do these things they're talking about? And as the story goes on, that solidifies a little bit and you get a clearer impression about this character. He's a very complex character. He feels very real, and you do feel that what happened to him when he was younger, so when his father went missing, he was 12 years old, and that shaped this character in this story. And that comes through very clearly, and you can just get a sense of all the things this character went through to shape him to what he is now. And I think Sue Grafton wrote that very well. She wrote it in a way that's got compassion in the story as well for this character, but it's very clear who this character is at the point of time, and I thought that Sue Grafton did a great job in giving us Brian Jaff. Even though I didn't think this is the strongest book in the series, it's the characters that make it what it is, and also the history of Kinsey coming into the book as well. The revelations about this family she never knew about. Those things make this a stronger book, and I rate it a 4 out of 5. I want to know what happens with this family, and I want to know what happens with William and Rosie. Those things keep you going in this series as a reader. I do want a different, fresh approach to the mystery in the next book. I don't want another insurance fraud. I've had 2 already. I'd rather not have any more of those in the series. I want different things for Kinsey, but I do want all those things set in her home base in Santa Teresa, because I think that's when the book's the strongest. I want more of Rosie and William and Henry in each book now, and when Kinsey deviates from her main area, her main patch, that's when the story loses its way a little bit, in my opinion, because the support cast aren't there. But in this book, we do get some of Henry, we do get some of William, and that history of Kinsey just makes it so much more special. As I read through this series, I'll do a book review on each one and put that video up on my channel. If you don't want to miss out on those videos, check out my channel and subscribe. I also have a Sue Grafton playlist on my channel. It should be on your screen now.